Hello, everybody, on the residual Mayo page that I never upload anything to. I thought about doing this here on the side page, something unscripted. I have a few notes of things I want to mention, but something unscripted, unedited. I wanted to talk about Mullet MadJack and what my experience was working with the director and in kind of implementing some changes before the game came out, and just kind of telling the story of how I've been working with with some indie developers over the past couple of years, because I love YouTube and I love doing what I do, but I've gotten more and more interested in really getting involved with the actual developers and helping with balance, or just like talking about gameplay ideas, or finding bugs and issues that somehow no one else finds in like a year of testing or something. So yeah, I've been involved with a few shooters, as you guys know, over the years. I'm starting to work with some horror games as well, which is where my true passion is. And my work with Mullet MadJack was, I guess, more involved and more interesting than anything has been probably since the early days of Deadlink. When they sent me a game that was functional and was great, but had a lot of room for improvement. And so Mullet MadJack was sent to me. I got the key about a week before it was supposed to come out. It was just a review copy. And at this point, I'm not going to say all, but a good number of indie devs that make shooters and that want me to review it, they already know my content. They already know how I approach stuff. And so I felt a certain kind of liberty in contacting the developer to mention some issues that I had found. And I already talked to him, and I got permission to talk about this, at least on some level, because I find it interesting. So I messaged the developer and I said, hey, I really like your game, but I found some pretty serious things that I would love to talk to you about. Do you have an hour to get on a call with me? And he said, yeah. So we got on the call, and I had a list of like 7 things. And some of them were bugs, and some of them were just questions like, hey, how does this work, or what's going on behind the scenes here with this damage value and stuff like that. And I thought I would bring up a few things that to you guys that I found interesting, and some ways that I was able to influence the game, some things that maybe you guys didn't really notice, or things that you like that you don't know where they came from. And so I'll just kind of go through the list that I have here. What do I have here as the first one? Instakill command. Right. Okay. So when you press the right click, it does the instakill if you have a knife or an axe or something like that. And you can also run /dash/kick with the shift button. You can do it with both shift and the mouse 2 button. But the problem was, if you were holding shift to do the dash and you pressed R2, it would not do the insta-kill animation if you already had, if you had one of those weapons. So what I'm saying is that you see an enemy right in front of you, and you naturally hit shift to run straight towards them, and then you press the mouse 2 to do the insta-kill animation. And if you're holding shift at that moment, then mouse 2 would not take priority over shift, meaning that you would kick them instead of using the insta-kill item. And this was incredibly frustrating, and it was an easy fix. I mean, they just had to program for R2 for mouse 2 to take priority over shift, but it didn't used to have that. So you would just get kicks all the time if you were using shift when you wanted to do insta-kill. That's fixed. What else do I have? Okay, the fans. So you have these spinning fans that get introduced around level 5, level 6, And they're fine. You know, you have to time your way through, jump, dash. But I noticed that when they were appearing on the downward slopes, they were really, really annoying because you're moving so fast and you're shooting enemies at the same time and kicking enemies, and then these fans come, and it was so easy to just get hit by them and not be able to control your speed and get through. And so I said, what if you could shoot the fans and that would cause them to slow down and then you could get through easily. That could be kind of fun, right? In the chaos, you target a fan and then you get through easier. And so he did that. He made it to where the fans move slower. But then I was noticing, as I was testing this, I was noticing that, hey, you know, being able to do that makes the fans trivial because you can accidentally shoot the fan at a long distance. And now the fan is just spinning super slow, and you don't even have to think about it when you're not even there yet. So, on top of the slowdown effect, I suggested that they should actually recover. So they aren't just free. And so he made it to where the fans will spin back up to regular speed after about 2 seconds. So that's great. You hit a fan long distance by accident, and by the time you get back, it's spinning at full speed again. So you would have to intentionally shoot it again to get the slowdown effect. That was a cool change. All right, next on the list, instakills. Actually, all right. So there was this bug I noticed where I was accidentally doing the instakill animation, because you have to hit the right mouse button to do it. But as I was playing, it just kept happening, and I don't know. I didn't know why. I just kept getting this animation out of nowhere, and it was really frustrating because I was saving these instakill tools for a moment where I needed them, and I noticed. Because I was asking the question, why does this keep happening? And I figured it out. It was happening when I was in the air and I had an instakill item on me and I made contact with an enemy that was on the ground or in the air. As long as I was in the air, if I made contact with them, it went into the instakill animation. And so this was once I figured that out, I told the dev about it. I was like, hey, here's a massive bug, you gotta fix this. And so, I mean, it was fixed immediately, right? But these are just the things that slip through QA, and you know, I guess people are focused on the speed of it, and it's chaotic and it's crazy and it's difficult, and so the instakill doesn't come out, and they don't really think about why it came out. Maybe they're dashing all the time with mouse 2 instead of shift, and so they're used to the finisher coming out automatically a lot instead of controlling it themselves. That's my theory as to why it slipped through QA. But you know, I brought it up and it was fixed immediately. Let's see, next on the list, shield guys. So I really like the shield guys. They're like the most dynamic enemy in the game because you can kick the shield and it drops that way. You can shoot the shield 4 times and it falls, and then you can get the headshot. But you can also target their legs. And I asked the dev, I said, hey, is there any benefit to shooting them in the leg? And he said, well, no. Because I noticed that if you shoot the shield, it's 4 times to drop the shield. And if you shoot them in the leg, it was also 4 times to drop the shield. And I said, well, why don't you make their leg a separate precision shot? So if you shoot the leg, you have to shoot the leg fewer times to get them to drop the shield. And so they implemented that. So that's an additional way to engage with the shield guys. Target their legs, they'll drop the shield faster than just shooting the shield. So they're just a little more dynamic that way. Samurais. Samurais are an enemy that you have to kick to kill them. They're immune to gunshots. But they were also immune to explosions, which felt wrong. So I brought that up, and we were able to get the samurais affected by explosions as well. And what else was going on? Oh, right, the upgrade system. So at the end of every 10 floors, you get a permanent upgrade. And I thought that it would be cool to do what Slay the Spire does. And in Slay the Spire, there's this upgrade that lets you pick an additional card after every fight, because you get 3 cards after every fight, and you can get an upgrade that adds another card. And I was like, that would be really cool in this game. Why don't you make one of your permanent upgrades something that makes you have 4 upgrades to choose from at the end of every level? Because at the end of every level, you get a weapon choice, and then you get 2 upgrade choices. That's it. You can unlock the reroll as well to see another 3 upgrades, one of them being weapon and the other 2 being character upgrades. But my feeling was that there are so many upgrades to choose from that just being able to see 2 or reroll for another 2 doesn't let you really see what the choices are. So I said, why don't you have a permanent upgrade that increases the number of upgrades you see per level? And that didn't get added into the launch version of Mullet MadJack, but in the current version it is there. So there's a new permanent upgrade, and I really like what he did with it. It's not that it gives you an extra upgrade for every level. It gives you a 30% chance of seeing an extra upgrade per level. That's cool. And then that allows you to have upgrades for the upgrades, because later, after you beat another 10 floors, you get another group of choices for a permanent upgrade, and one of them is an upgrade to that, where now it's 30%, it goes to 50% chance of getting another upgrade choice at the end of each level. So that's great. I really like that idea, that modification to the original idea. In the sniper section, after level 3, it used to not have a reticle when you were not aiming the sniper rifle. So you had this free look, but you didn't have a dot for the center. And it made it really awkward to look in a direction and then zoom in, because if you were not dead center on an enemy, you would zoom in so far that you wouldn't see them, and then you didn't know where you were even looking at. You didn't know if you needed to move to the right or left or up or whatever. So I said, put a reticle on the center of the screen so we can center ourselves better over these snipers, and then zoom in, and we're looking at them at least. And so he did that, and that was great. Here's I don't know if this is a bug or just an oversight. The windows. So you can run through these windows, you dash through the windows, or you shoot through the windows. And if you get up close to the windows and you press the dash button, you'll break right through. But there was this oversight where in the corners of the windows, you couldn't do that. If you had backed off and you were running into the corner and then you did the dash, then yeah, you would break through. But if you were just standing against the window in the corner and you hit the dash button, it wouldn't break the window. And I'm not saying that happened all the time, but it would happen occasionally, where you end up against a window for some reason, and you're in the corner and you're hitting dash and you just don't go through it when you should have. And so I brought that up, and that was resolved very, very quickly. Again, I guess these are the things that most, normal QA people don't pick out, or they don't notice, or doesn't bother them, and things that just happen to stand out to me, which is kind of why I want to get more into the QA side of video game development and into these kinds of discussions. One issue that was also present. This is something that I brought up in a YouTube community post once. It was because of this game. A lot of indie devs don't test their games on multi-monitor setups, and that's the kind of setup that most YouTubers are going to have, or streamers, right? You have the game on one monitor, and you have your streaming setup or your notes or videos or whatever on the other monitor. I have a 3-monitor setup myself. And so when devs don't test their games on multi-monitor setups, they don't know if there's any moments in their game where the mouse might actually leave the screen. And if that happens, then you can accidentally click something on the other monitor, which causes you to exit the game. So what was happening in Mullet MadJack was let's say, during the upgrade screen. This is not gameplay. This is the upgrade screen. And because you are not in gameplay, the mouse would be able to leave the screen if you scrolled too far, and then now you could click in another monitor without pressing Alt-Tab. You should have to Alt-Tab out of a game before you can move the mouse to another screen. If your mouse is moving to another screen without pressing Alt-Tab, something's fucked up. And so that would happen during the upgrade screen or during the menu screen. But what was really bad is that it was happening during the finisher animation, the instakill. So you'd be playing and do a finisher and then move your mouse quickly because you're always moving the mouse. It's a very hectic game. And so you would do a finisher real quick and then you move the mouse and suddenly the mouse goes off the screen and you click because you're anticipating to fire or something, and you click something during the finisher animation. Now you've exited the game, and now you can't control your character at all, and then you just die. That was really frustrating. But I mean, this was, again, like, this is just one of the things that I brought up in the week leading up to Mullet MadJack that was able to be fixed. What else can I talk about? I guess I could talk about the difficulty settings. The difficulty settings fluctuated a lot in this game. The difference between challenge and hard mode was up for debate a lot. But when I was playing, the better I got. I mean, I'm no pro, but you know, I'm pretty decent at Mullet MadJack. I'm running through. I'm getting headshots, and I'm playing the game as it should be played. The better I got at it after a few hours. Do I have to drink here? Yes, I do. Okay. These ultra beers don't really taste like nothing. But they're low calorie and low carb. What was I saying? Right, the difficulty. The better I got at the game, the more I found it was easy to ignore what was truly fun about it. And what makes Mullet MadJack the game that it is? It's the environmental kills, right? It's kicking people into toxic waste or kicking them into fans or electric panels or into doors, shooting doors to hit someone behind it, shooting the explosives. These are all the things that make this game really cool. And I found that on challenge or even on hard mode, once I was familiar with how the game is played and I'm moving fast and I'm not confused by the level layout, I found that I was just able to just run and headshot, just headshot, headshot, nutshot, headshot, headshot. And it became kind of an automatic play style where it was easy to ignore all the environmental kills, all the cool stuff, all the stuff that makes the game fun. So I said, why don't you create a difficulty where environmental kills are prioritized over everything? And so I submitted an idea for insane mode, which is now in the game, by the way. It wasn't in the game when it came out, but it was added a few weeks later. And you'll see that if you play insane mode, when it gives you the warning about it, it has a little thank you Mayo, which is nice. You know, I like, it's flattering, right? He put me on the TV screens after level 3 with all the other YouTubers who are far larger than I am and far more influential in the YouTube space. But I helped a lot with the last week of the game and getting things ready for launch, things that other people hadn't found. And so that's why he put me on the screen, which is awesome. But more specifically, my main contribution to Mullet MadJack is insane mode. And so I said, he wasn't sure about this at first, you know, and I said, we'll test it. We'll make sure it's okay before it actually gets added. And I said, you need a mode where normal kills give nothing. They give fucking nothing. You have to headshot or you have to nut shot. And that only gives you 1 second instead of 2. So you're running through, headshot, 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 and you're just barely staying alive. Enemies also do more damage, right? So you get hit, wow, you lose a lot of life. And headshots they're only giving you 1 second. But environmental kills give you 2. That way, the incentive is that You're moving fast. You're very focused on precision targeting to stay alive second by second. But when you see an opportunity for an environmental kill, you're gonna take it because it's more points. And it was, I guess it was controversial at first, but because it's a hardcore way to play. But I felt like it was something that was going to be needed once you really understood how the game was played. You were going to need something higher to push you further. And he sent it to me, and I played through several levels, and I said, "This works. Like, I can pass it." And I'm not the highest level, right? I'm pretty good at shooters, but I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not a high-level pro. And I said, "I can do this. I can pass this." And I think that means it's okay, because that means that there's a lot more players higher than me that will be able to handle this. But then there's an ocean of players under my skill level that will possibly never be able to take on a challenge like this, or they'll need a significant amount of time to get to the level where they can do it. And that's great. I think it's great to have a difficulty level that you can work yourself up to eventually. Maybe there's people that'll take months before they can play insane mode, and that's cool. But I tried it out. I thought it was great, and he played it as well. And he actually sent me a message. This is something that just like warmed my heart, because it's not every day that I get to feel that I made a real positive difference in something, which is something I'm trying to do more in life. And he sent me a message, and he said, "I think you've unlocked the true potential of this game, or the peak potential of this game." He says something to that effect. And I was just like, wow, that's amazing. Insane mode is the true potential of Mullet MadJack, because even if you're playing great, you're fucking awesome at this game, and you're just flying through and you're getting headshots, you still want to prioritize those environmental kills, and you just maximize everything that Mullet MadJack does well. And it's just so fun to play and so fun to watch. So yeah, my true addition to the game was insane mode, and I feel really great about that. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to tell you guys about, those who wanted a behind-the-scenes look at things that were happening with Mullet MadJack. One of the best games of the year, possibly best game of the year. And for those of you who are curious about what the evolution of my work has become 4 years into this, right? Like, I'm not just making videos and talking about what I think. I've actually gotten the attention of some really respectable designers and creative people that are, sometimes they directly ask for my feedback, and sometimes they just send me their game thinking I'm going to review it, and then I end up bringing stuff up that they never expected, and then I end up contributing in ways that were never expected. And it's awesome. It feels great. I hope that I'm able to make more of a positive impact on games going forward. It's very fulfilling. It's something I'd like to do more as I go on, as I get older. I don't feel like I want to stop doing YouTube anytime soon. I enjoy doing this. It's great. I get to experience new games and evolve my perspective and get to know you guys and talk to you in the comments and make friends. It's been great, right? But you start to think in the future. You're like, oh my God, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, when I'm 70, am I going to be on YouTube talking about stuff? I mean, maybe so, right? Who knows what the future of this community, not my community, but like the whole like gaming community is going to be. Angry Joe and Skill Up and G-Man, like, are they going to be old men, or are we all going to be on here, Civvy and everyone, still talking about this stuff? Maybe so. But I would like to shift more to have a larger focus in this game design consulting QA director sort of position that I'm starting to develop. On a game by game basis. I'm building a resume. And Mullet MadJack was, I feel like, one of my biggest contributions to the indie game scene so far. I'm trying to get involved in some horror games. yeah, I'm rambling now, right? But I always tell directors when I talk to them about their games, and I get on a call with a list of observations. I always tell them like, hey, these are just my opinions. These are the things that I found, and I'm separating my list into things that I think you absolutely need to address and things that I personally feel. I don't want you to think that I'm saying that I'm absolutely right in my opinion about this. This is your game. You have to go with what feels right. But anything I bring up to you is because I have a sincere feeling that this is something that should at least be thought about or considered. And they consider them, you know, and some things I suggest make it in, some things I suggest don't make it in. And, you know, there's no ego about it. I just, I want the game to come out the best that it can. And so far, things have been going really well. Did I say growing? Things have been growing really well. Things have been going very well. I don't know if I fucked that up. I don't know if I pulled Rich Evans there. So thank you guys for listening to me just speak off my mind. I would never do this for a video on the actual channel. Everything I do there is scripted because it's stuff that doesn't come straight out of my mind. I don't when I do a review of a game or an opinion piece or something like that. That's not something that I can just speak off of my head. I have to actually structure what I want to say and try to make every point that I want to say. And so that's why those videos have to be scripted. But this is just a video about what my experience was and things that I helped contribute to. So I thought it made for a good unscripted structure. Right. So, okay, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Sorry that I never uploaded this channel. It's just kind of like, I don't know what to do here. I'm not that social. I don't have that many things to upload here. I haven't really done any playthroughs that I thought would be good to upload here. I haven't done side content. But, you know, for those of you who are around, I hope you enjoyed this video. And, yeah, hopefully more good things come this year. Goodbye.